Hi, I'm Malo and welcome to the MPC Academy. In this video, we're going to be going over the MPC XL layout. Right here, we'll see that there's many buttons, but most of these buttons will allow us to jump into certain menus without us having to menu dive on the LCD screen. If we see right here at the very center of the MPC, we'll see our 16 velocity sensitive MPCE pads. Now, it's not just 16 pads, but we have right here on our left hand side our banks. We have bank A, B, C, D, all the way from A all the way to H. If we want to go into bank E, we just double tap and we are now in bank E, F, G, and H. It's very fast to access the banks while you're performing, and if you want to bank around, you are able to do that right away. At the very bottom, we have our sounds bank, we have our favorites, we have a dedicated save button. If you want to save the project, we don't have to go to menu, save. We could just hit save right away and it allows us to save your session. If you want to start browsing for new songs or browse for certain files, you have your browser right here. And if we jump over right here at the very bottom, this section is really cool because we have a dedicated sample edit where we can start editing certain samples. If we want to just start truncating something, or we want to normalize a file or time stretch a certain sample, we're able to jump into the sample edit page right away. If you notice at the very bottom of most of these function buttons in red letters, we have a secondary function. What is a secondary function? Well, the secondary function will allow us to access a different menu or a different function within the same button. For example, right here, this is our sample edit, but at the very bottom in red letters, it says sampler. So if we want to tap into the secondary function, all we have to do is just double tap sampler and it takes us into the sampler. What we can also do is shift tap and it will take us into the secondary function. So moving over right here, we have our grid edit. We also have our grid list, our track mutes, our pad mute, our arranger, our matrix view, our mixer, and last but not least, our track editor. This is a go-to page for me. So if I want to pitch up or down certain programs or certain tracks, I'm able to do that right here from the track edit. Moving over right here, we have different function buttons for our MPC pads. We got our full level. I like to be in full level most of the time, so there's no velocity sensitivity on the pads. Everything would just be a full 100% volume on each pad. Then right here we have our 16 levels where we have different functions. We can go to velocity, tune, filters. Right here you'll notice there's two shift buttons. These shift buttons, like I mentioned earlier, will allow us to tap into the secondary functions of each individual pad. Why we have two right here? Because the MPC XL is pretty big MPC, so if we gotta do shift click on certain buttons on our right hand side, we have that shift, or if we wanna do shift click on the left hand side, we have this button right here. Down here we have our erase or even our clear track. So if we wanna clear everything right here on this track, we can double press that, clear, and it gets rid of everything that we have performed on that track. Over here to our right hand side, we have our tap tempo. This tap tempo is a very useful button if you want to tap out the tempo of a certain sample and match the tempo of a certain sample, or if you just have a certain groove on your head and you just gotta tap that tempo out. This is very, very useful, and I love the fact that they isolated tap tempo right here. Right here we have our menu button. If you want to jump into the menu and go through different pages within your menu, we can jump into that. And on the secondary button, we have our preferences. So if you got to do something within your preferences, you could jump right into your preferences. At the very bottom, this is again another useful quick key, and it's your main page. This is where you see everything that's going on in your sequence. This is probably the page that I'm working from 90% of the times when I'm building a track. Down here we have loop on or loop off. We can engage or disengage this loop, so it will loop the certain sequence. And down here we have arranger or clip. So if we want to record into the arranger or if we want to record into your clip, you can have that engaged right there. Up here we have our copy. If we want to copy certain pads and paste them, we have delete, we have read or write. This read or write, very important if you want to automate, if you want to start doing some type of automation with effects, you want to be in write. If you want to go back to hear what you recorded with your automation, you leave it at read. So again, another very useful quick key button to have right at your fingertips. The most useful quick key is this undo or redo. So if you do a drum groove and it sounds horrible, just hit undo and try it again. Right here we have our numeric keypad. If you want to type in, let's say, the tempo of a certain session and use this numeric keypad, you can do that right here. Very useful if you don't want to be dealing with numbers and touching the LCD screen, you can do that right there. Down here we have our metronome on or metronome off. Our time correction on or off. Right here we have our jog wheel, which is very important. If you notice, you click anywhere and you want to move up or down a few notches, you can use this jog wheel. This navigation, up, down, left, right, another very useful dial. If we go into our browser and you want to go up or down, we use that right there. You want to get out of a certain folder, you can go back, you want to go into a folder. Down here we have up on your session, you want to hit play. You want to record, or if you want to overdub record, you want to move different events, put your locator certain areas. Now, moving over right here to your touch strip. This touch strip is extremely useful. You could use this for different functions. Either you want to use this for touch effects, if you want to do certain effects on a track or on a pad. Notice that right here on the right-hand side, you have the touch strip, two different button functions for your touch strip. One option for your touch strip is if you want to use this for effects. If you press effects, you long press that, you'll see you have many different effects. Like right here, we're on note repeat. So if it's right here on note repeat, when I press this, it's going to give us the note repeat effect. But let's say I want to switch that touch strip effect to a different effect. Press and hold. We have the turntable effect. There's many different effects you can assign this to. Also, the second touch strip button is different modes for what this touch strip will do. This is so cool to me because you could either make this act as a pad fader. So that's one of my favorites because if I have a hi-hat that's too loud and I want to lower just the hi-hat, not the entire track, I can just lower the individual pad using this touch strip. That is really cool. If the snare is too loud, I can raise the volume or lower the volume of individual pads. You can do this as your track level. If you want to raise or lower down the volume of an entire track, we have the crossfade, we got a Q-link, pitch bend, mod wheel, or if you just want to turn off this setting, it will just not do anything if you don't want to accidentally bump it. Now, if we look up here on our upper left-hand side, we have our XL channel command. This is very, very important because up here we could access and jump into certain functions of the current track we're on. For example, if right now we are on track 4 Boom Bap Kit MP Pure GM 80, we can see the reflection right here. That's what it says. That's the track that we're currently on. If you want to arm the track, record ready, you have the arm dedicated button right here, on or off. If you want to add an effect to this track, let's say we want to put a compressor, instead of us having to press and click right here and open up the Channel Strip XL, we can just go right here to track effects and we see our effects laid out right there. If we want to solo this track, we have a solo button. If we want to mute the track, we can mute the track. If we want to jump into the returns right here, we can just jump right there and we can see, we want to look at our submixes, jump into the submix page, or if we just want to look at the track view, we just right here go onto track view. If you want to go to the next track or the previous track, you can navigate that right here. We got minus or plus track right here. We can move around which track we want to be at. And last but not least, we have this volume knob right here. This volume knob is just gonna raise or lower the volume of the current track that we're on. we don't no longer have to open up this channel strip XL. We can just do that right here. All right, so right here at the very center of the MPC, we have our step sequencer. This step sequencer is not only for dropping in steps and doing a step sequencer type of workflow, but it also has different pages you can jump into. How do we jump into these different pages right here? We have our step sequencer control buttons right here. If you want to jump into, for an example, into our track mute, you hit set. These start blinking, ready for you to jump into any of these other pages. We want to go to track mute, we jump into that, and now we have our track mute right here. If you want to go into your drum sequencer and start sequencing certain drum one-shots, you hit set, you go to drum sequence, and now this is in the sequencer mode. So if you want to select your kick and you want to drop in some steps, you can drop that in right here, right here, right here, and you can start using this as a step sequencer. If right now this is just showing one bar that's looping, if you want to jump in over to the second bar within your step sequencer to drop in more steps, you have previous and next. You go to next, and now we are in the second bar. We can drop more steps right here if we choose to. Our snare, boom, boom, go to our previous, boom, boom. Our hi-hat. Very fast way to use the step sequencer and lay down a simple groove. Now let's look at the inputs and outputs, everything that you can connect into the MPC, or if you want to access your outputs. Let's go ahead and jump into that. All right, so let's take a look at the front left-hand side of the MPC. Right here we have an SD card slot, so if you want to import samples using an SD card, you can pop that in right there, or same thing with a USB. You could use a USB if you have your samples stored in there, pop that in right there. Now when you move over to the right-hand side, we have our foot switch 1, foot switch 2, and we also have 2 1/4-inch instrument input jacks right here. We can plug straight into the front of the MPC. Alongside right here, we have a 3.5 millimeter and a 1/4-inch headphone output jack, which will give us control of our main outputs and our secondary outputs. Now, if we take a look at the back of the MPC right here, we have our power jack, and we also have USB-C input right here. That's going to be if we want to sample from our cell phone or just sample using USB-C, we have that right there. We also have an additional USB 1 and 2. If you guys want to plug in a USB stick and you guys have certain files in there you want to import, you can have that right here in the back. Back here we also have our CV gate jacks and our MIDI in and MIDI out. Moving over, we have 8 outputs right here. Our left and right, which is going to be outputs 1 and 2, that could be connected to your speakers or to an interface. And we have additional outputs, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, and 8. If you guys want to use those additional outputs to send certain signals to certain pieces of outboard gear, or if you guys want to get creative and route these additional outputs through different sources, you guys can do that right here. And last but not least, we have our inputs, inputs 1 and 2, and then inputs 3 and 4. Inputs 1 and 2, we could either have 1/4-inch inputs or XLR inputs. And these XLR inputs do have phantom power, so if you have a microphone that needs phantom power, you can have that right here. Inputs 3 and 4, this right here is either 1/4-inch inputs, or you also have the phono jack inputs. If you're going to be using a turntable that uses phono, make sure you plug that right here. And when you select what type of input, you want to select phono input. If it's just going to be a line level input, you make sure you go to line. All right, so I hope you guys took some out of this video as we went through and explored the layout of the MPC XL and also checked out the inputs and outputs. Stay tuned, and we'll see you guys on the next videos.